What's going on, team? Welcome back along to the crib where we are here with our Super Rugby preview show, your best place for finding rugby content on the internet. It is round 13 coming up this weekend, and we're going to be having a look at the 7 matches coming your way. We've got special guests joining us on the show again this week, giving the northern views from the other side of the world. Welcome back to the one-time top of the table SuperBru leader, way back in round 3, was it, Taz? Welcome back to the channel.
Hello, boys. How are we all? Hello, Steve-O. Yeah, I think it's once, round 3, and that's way back in the past now. So it doesn't look like I'll be heading back up that way table. Boasting, and then the curse of the show. But never mind. Let's try and reverse the curse and get back up that leaderboard, shall we?
Sounds like a good plan. Yes, of course. We'll be having a look at the SuperBru leaderboard, but just before we do that, it's time to catch up with how we sit with the yellow cards for 2019. So last year at this stage, heading into round 13, we were sitting on 56 cards. Now, we are doing very, very well this season. We're above last year by a slender margin. Wild stab, Taz. Let us have it. How much do you think we got this year so far?
59.
Oh, well done. Nailed it right on the head. Perfect. There we go. First one of the season to nail the yellow card margin. That is superb. And, of course, we've had 7 red cards, which is, I think, astronomical. I've never seen so many red cards in a Super Rugby season before. But there we go. The cards are flying thick and fast, especially the last couple of weeks. The referees have been absolutely dishing them out to anyone who dares get in their way and feels the wrath there of the referees. But moving swiftly on, that's a great start. So if you can predict every single match like that as well, you'll have a very good week this round. So that's good. Great start. Let's go on to SuperBru, of course. The SuperBru leaderboard where I can once again sit here, put the yellow cap firmly over my headphones and look like a complete idiot, but say we are sitting nicely in 7th position. Inside that top 10, up 2 from last week, doing very, very well, I must admit. In the top spot, though, sits Jack, who is creaming it at the moment, 67.75 points. He's got a nice little lead over Nates, who has dropped down into 2nd, and 3 Crowns 1 is having a bit of a battle for that 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot with a couple of other guys as well. Taz, well, we've talked about your picks a little bit before we started recording, but you're sitting down on 40th spot. What have you put that down to? You're up 6, so you're on the improve, definitely. Recovering from a few poor weeks a few weeks ago.
Yes, absolutely. Where I was checking my performance, like we said, and I had 4 weeks with 47 and less win percentage. That is not very good, is it?
That's not going to get you back to the top of the table at all.
Well, let's have a goodness me. Yeah. I thought that last couple of weeks, I thought I had a mix-up, and I actually gave my phone to my old man to do the picks. And lucky enough, he got me 67% winning percentage. So good old dad, he's bumped me up a bit. So let's see if I can carry on the favour.
Oh dear, pass the buck on to the old man, eh? Who else we got on the leaderboard? Driving Moore's picking his way up the leaderboard nicely. He's up to 24th position, so he's moved up 3 as well, going along nicely. No one else really proven to be too much of a threat to my top 10 position that we've had on the show this season so far. We've got Twigyogi, who's picked up the yellow cap way down in 52nd. I mean, the name matches the position. And poor old Smarty Highlanders fan. Oh, wooden spoon. Terrible week for the Highlanders, man. Of course, wouldn't be picking that draw that the Highlanders picked up against the Chiefs last week as well. So, all in all, I'm pretty happy with how I'm sitting on the SuperBru leaderboard. Taz, work to do. Hopefully, we'll kick it into gear today with this preview and get ourselves firmly up that leaderboard. So let's kick into it. We've got 7 games, so let's not mess about anymore. Let's get into these 7 matches. It all kicks off on Friday night, of course, the Blues versus the Hurricanes, and the home team versus the Blues at Eden Park, of course. But the dream of the Blues, actually performing, getting up to standard this season, seems like it's well and truly a pipe dream in the past, not happening anymore. The dream of 2 New Zealand derby wins firmly seems out of the thought pattern for this Blues side as they go back to what we've seen from them in previous seasons. Is there any hope that they're going to, revitalise what we've seen a couple of rounds or a few rounds ago now from this Blues side?
Not this week, no. I can't see it happening there. On a 3-game losing streak after winning 4 on the bounce, their form sits, and they can't see games out. And usually, like against the Highlanders, where you went and watched them, they're collapsing and they're just giving up and not showing up. And fortunately for them, because Hurricanes who are playing bloody well at the moment, and I only can see one way for this to go, and that's a Hurricanes win.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about before we started recording this Blues team that they've picked up. I noticed one glaringly, I don't even know how to describe it, but Harry Plummer at number 10. I can't even describe it, but yes, this guy's a young guy. He could be something for the future for them, but boy, oh boy, the struggle with 10s continues for them, and Teddy Black sure isn't fantastic, but I have not seen the goods from Plummer this year. He's been very much under pressure. He hasn't really stood up to the level that the Super Rugby needs to be as well. So I'm concerned that he is going to suffer a little bit to the hands of Beauden Barrett and his backline buddies from the Hurricanes, who, you look at this Hurricanes side as well, they've only lost twice, and they are both times to the Crusaders. So everyone else, they are taking to pieces. So a trip up to Auckland should be no trouble for this Hurricanes side, as the last time the Blues beat them was 5 years ago in 2014. A long time ago, but you can't see anything else coming out of this than a much better looking Hurricanes team doing the job.
Absolutely, mate. I can't. The Canes are just getting win after win, and it's just one-way traffic I can see for this Hurricanes team, and that's a double-figure margin win, I reckon.
So what's your margin going to be? I've gone Hurricanes. I've gone double figures, which is a bit rare for me, but I've gone Hurricanes by 12 to get it up over the Blues. How about yourself?
I'm now picking it as we speak because I haven't done it, so I'm going to do it live while doing it, and I'm going to go Hurricanes by 15.
15. We're both locking it in.
And I'm locking it in as we speak.
There we go. So Taz can check everyone's picks now.
Look.
Done. Locked it in. Looks like it's going to be one-way traffic. Hurricanes far too good. Good team too. Really good side from them. Can't see it going any other way for the trip to the road. Right, moving on over the ditch to Australia. This is an interesting one. It's the Rebels versus the Reds. Now, I think this is going to be one to watch. Maybe not for entertainment value or for enjoyment sake, but for possibly looking at how this one's going to affect the Australian conference. So it's huge for Australia. 2 points between these two sides who are in first. That's the Rebels and the Reds who are in third. Who's going to have the composure to, not fall apart in this high-pressure situation for the Australian conference?
To be honest, I think the Rebels have got more pressure put on them as they're now the Globetrotters. They've got all these stars and they haven't really been playing to their standards, if you think about it. And the Reds are a young side, first year together, really, coming to show what they've got. They should just go out there and just enjoy their rugby. So I think the pressure's more on the Rebels than the Reds.
I think this is a huge game for the Rebels because if they don't win this and other results go against them effectively, they could possibly drop down to as low as fourth position in the Australian Conference. So that would be catastrophic to go from first and commandingly first as well a few weeks ago to all the way down to fourth and just being dragged down into that big battle. And I think what we've seen in recent weeks is that big decisive factor. We've talked about all season since previewing Super Rugby, the Will Guinea and Quade Cooper combination. We talk about it every single week, but teams have suddenly learned how to really put this team under pressure, particularly Quade Cooper, and they've rattled him. And the big question here is, are the Reds good enough to come up with a game plan that is going to take those two out of the game, especially Cooper? Or do you think the Rebels have actually come up with something to counteract what teams are doing to them to destroy their chief playmakers, their chief game controllers?
Well, the main thing is, if you think last week, the Rebels, they had their chances. So in the second half, they looked bloody good. No offence, they did come back well. But Cooper got a rush of head and got out and missed the kicks what he needed to get. So if the Reds can get in his head and hit Genya and Cooper and get rough them up a bit, they might not show. So it all depends how. It's like I've always said, it's how teams play against them, and if they're physical against the Rebels, then the Rebels don't really like it. So it all depends, really.
And the Reds are coached by a very physical man themselves, aren't they, in Brad Thorne?
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see that forward pack, young, aggressive forward pack that they got, should put a little bit of a tussle on. But I'm interested to see what you're going to go with. What are you going to lock in for this one, Rebels and the Reds? Of course, Rebels at home as well.
It doesn't matter if they're home or away. It's a bloody Australian conference game, isn't it? Anyone beat anyone in that conference. To be honest, I feel like a little upset here. Not by a margin. I think the Reds will win by 3.
Oh, Reds by 3. There we go. There we go. We've got one already. I'm going complete opposite, almost to the point, but I'm going for the Rebels to win it at home by just 2. Don't ask why. I'm not really too sure myself, but this is a real 50-50 one started off. This is almost like picking a South African game. This is how bad these Australian teams are getting. Rebels have fallen off the horse big time. They have named their team. It's a good-looking team. Both sides have got their sides out, and it's pretty much not changed at all. They're pretty much as good as these sides are going to be. And you look at it and say, yeah, these guys could have played 5 weeks ago, and it would have been the same side going out for this one pretty much. So it's going to be an interesting one, a real coin toss in Australia for a change. But we're going opposite sides. Yourself for the Reds, I'm going for the Rebels. That's going to be an interesting one for our second game of the weekend. Moving on. Anyway, moving on to South Africa. Here we go. First question I'm going to put to you about this one. What is your view, being from the big Northern Hemisphere, where rugby is all a different sort of sport, what is your view on how the South African Conference is going and just how unpredictable, erratic, inconsistent that conference has been in 2019?
I think it's bloody brilliant. It's interesting. It's strange. It's like each team has a shit week, excuse my language, and then next week they bloody play unbelievable rugby. So it's up and down, up and down, up and down, and I think more young South African players know it's the World Cup this year. They're trying to battle after the World Cup in England 4 years ago. South Africa were pretty poor. They each youngster, when they're playing against each conference team, are showing up saying, I want to play, or I want that green jersey. So really, I think it's bloody brilliant where the conference is up and down all the time. It makes it more interesting. Every game means something. It's not a runaway team like New Zealand where the Crusaders have kind of said, number 1 spot is ours. Yeah, fair enough. You already knew that. But South Africa, you can't really follow it. It's brilliant. Most games I enjoy watching are the South African games because you just don't know which way it's going to go.
Yeah, it's been a highlight this season, has it, definitely? And you spoke about the Crusaders, which is a nice little segue on, because these Crusaders were given a little bit of a tactical lesson last week by the Sharks. How do you think they're going to reply to that? They're over now to South Africa to face the Bulls. This is going to be a tough one as well, because any team going to Loftus is a tough test anyway. But how do you expect the Crusaders to respond to that? You're going to see something a bit different from them, a bit more... what's the word say? Just to develop, I guess, to show that they're not just a one-dimensional side that don't have a plan B?
Well, the problem with the Crusaders is their penalty count. They've got to sort their discipline out, big time. It's like last week they gave away 14 penalties, and Coden Bosch slotted 7 over. Could have been more. And that's one part. If the Bulls can get the pack moving, so they're tired and get not rough them up, but smart rugby, slow the ball down, cold them, and do all sorts, or get on their breakdown quickly, they can make them give a lot of penalties away. And you just never know. I just think if the Bulls play well to the standard they can play, and Pollard's on his game, it could end up being a surprise result. You just never know, really.
Yeah, you already spoke about my key point is Handré Pollard. You talk a little bit about Kerwin Bosch. I'm a huge fan of Kerwin Bosch. He's a fantastic player, but he's a really great player, more of a runner, I guess, than probably known as for a kicker. But now you're going to a team that has that ace kicker. Handré Pollard very rarely misses. He's a really top-notch, world-class goal kicker. And he's a old school sort of number 10, I guess, doesn't he? He orchestrates the game, controls the tempo, dictates the flow of the game as well. So a real test here for the likes of Richie Mo'unga up against it, and like you say, the Crusaders pack, and how they're going to compete with this Bulls pack, which is going to be up for it, because there's a little bit of blood, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at the strength of the Bulls this year, it's been their pack. You think about it. And I've got some stats up there. There's the stat man.
Yeah.
The Crusaders have conceded 114 penalties so far this season in the games they've played. So what's round 30? So 12 games. They've only won 5 penalties in those 12 games and conceded 114. That is a big difference to winning games. I know their game play is play, let's get tries. And yeah, they've scored a bloody lot of tries. They've scored like 142 tries of it. They've scored 48 tries, 315 points so far this season, and that is a bloody lot. But you think about it though, getting that penalty count up for the Bulls, you just never know. But if they keep playing, like any team plays the All Blacks and International, if you got points, if you got a chance to take points, take them. If you keep that scoreboard rolling, they will panic and they'll play more and more. And the thing is with the Bulls, they're very good winning penalties. 37 penalties won this season, and that's a fair old amount. So if they keep playing and getting the points, getting the chance to kick goals, with Hayden Pollard's boot, and he's very good at kicking goals, you just never know, do you?
Yep, you're making a very appealing prospect for a home victory. Are you going to back up all that stat talk and back the Bulls?
Sure, I'm going to be an arse. I'm going to say it's going to be a tight one, and the Crusaders were lucky to win last week, get the draw last week, but I think the Bulls are better defense than the Sharks, more physical players. I'm going to say the Bulls are going to win by 3.
Oh, another big upset. I like this. This is great. I'm not going so extreme. I'm going to stick with Crusaders. They're a team that do not like to be showing up. And I think we all agree they got shown up last week by the Sharks. And I think we are going to see something, a backlash, I guess, of sorts that they will be firing at the Bulls. But you've spoken already, penalties. It's going to be massive how many they can pick up, and the Bulls will just keep chipping away at those threes, and they've got a big pack that performs. You've spoken of them already, but I mean, their front row is great. Kuboka's already been hugely talked about for a Springbok jersey later this year. RJ Snyman has been fantastic in the second row for them. Dane Vermeulen, I mean, did you see that try from Dane Vermeulen last week? Did you see that intercept try he scored?
Yeah, it's brilliant, mate.
Best try of the season. Absolutely fantastic to see the big man just trundle it upfield like a big tractor. It was fantastic. I love that try. So more of that from Mr. Viewmillan would be very, very good. But I'm going Crusaders by 9 to take it on the road. A very good touring side normally, so I'm going to stick with that one and go with the away win for the Crusaders.
If you remember, the Crusaders lost to the Waratahs, didn't they? They played absolute shock in 2012. Then, unfortunately, the Christchurch problem, God bless us all. But when they came to the Chiefs, the next game after losing the Waratahs, they did say enough is enough, and they smashed the Chiefs. They actually gave them a thrashing. So let's see it after a poor result with a draw or a loss. Will they step up like they did against the Chiefs? Yes, the Bulls are a lot different to the Chiefs. You have to admit they're a big difference. It's going to be. In my eyes, this is game of the week already. It's going to be it's going to be awesome.
It has the potential to be very, very good indeed. And yeah, you're right. I mean, the Crusaders, they would have taken that draw as a loss in their mind, mentally. That would have been a big reason for a lot of work. But it's going to be a cracking game. If both teams turn up, it's sure to be a treat to watch that one. There'll be a Friday night South African game as well, which is great to see. I do like that in the early hours of Friday night here, or Saturday morning in New Zealand as well. Moving on, though, to our next match of the weekend. It is the Highlanders versus the Jaguares, who are on the road. Now, I mean, I could talk about a lot here. Last week, the Highlanders, I mean, they failed to probably take a big advantage of that position that they were in against the Chiefs. So they should have put that game away and ended up being a draw again. Another senior team that will be ruining them its chance of, if not a bit angry, treating it like another loss. But we can really talk about here is the loss of Ben Smith for this Highlanders team. A real leader, everything for the side at fullback. He's going to be hugely missed for this Highlanders team.
Absolutely. If you think about it, Aaron Smith is back this week, but Ben Smith, he is the first receiver, really, when in the 22. And he's the one who's going to pick the defensive holes and get the others playing around him for the offloads or the quick passes. But 8 weeks out, and that's kind of his season done now. And it's a massive loss. It's for any team losing a world-class player like Ben Smith. It's going to affect the team. So, and just think it's now down to old-style rugby, I think, to the Highlanders, and that's the pack. They're going to have to keep it tight, carry the ball well, and get the opposition's team's defence tighten up to play quick ball wide. So, and I think it's now down to the pack to step up now and say, we're going to have to change our game plan and see what we can do without Ben Smith.
Yeah, it's a massive loss. It's a side that rely on the two Smiths, don't they? That's their linchpin of that team is Smith and Smith.
And it doesn't help where talk about the pack and they've got to step up and play well. Yeah, we've got, as a Highlanders fan like yourself, I'm a Highlanders fan. Our pack is solid. It's not world class, but they do a good enough job. But it's not the time to play. I know they're Juarez, or whatever the fuck pronounce their name, but they are known for a strong, solid pack, and they're very good pack. Puma's Rugby is focused on the pack with some electric players back, but it's mainly pack work, getting win games, and there's four wins on a row have come down to great forward play. So it's going to be a tough game for the Highlanders, in my eyes.
What's been really awesome though about the Jaguares is that development of those electric backs you talk about. If you've seen them in recent weeks, you know the guys that got like the Boffellis, the Moronis, the De La Fuentes, of course the Moyanos as well. But I think what's been a real joy for this season for the Argentinian side is the number 10s that they've developed. Now, they've got Bonelia starting this week, and of course Miotti's coming off the bench, but they've blooded like 3 guys who are up to a decent standard here as well, and they keep rolling out these amazing backline players. Cancelliere, another new guy, a new name to the Jaguares side, and they're electric, and they hit form, or they hit the level, don't they? They don't struggle to get up there. They're straight in there and bang, and they're at it. They're at that level, and they're producing for their side. But the big question I have about this is simply they're not at home.
The travel. Yeah,
they're not
travel. That is the biggest question. But it's always the question about them. Is the travel they got to go for games? And this is their first game in New Zealand after a long flight. I don't know when they got into New Zealand, today or tomorrow or Saturday. In my eyes, they should have played last week, spent a day with the family, and flew over Monday, Tuesday to get here for Wednesday, and then they've got 4 days to cover. That's what I would do. And then they've got, they have their long spell away from the. But if you want to play good standard rugby and keep this winning form going, that's what I would have done. But it all depends, really, isn't it? It's how jet lag they are. If they aren't too jet lagged and they're ready to play, it's going to be a tough game.
And they've got something to play for too, don't they, the Jaguares? They sit right in the middle of the South African Conference, and they're just 1 point off topping it, effectively.
Yeah, exactly. And if you think about when you and Paul and Shane were talking about the start, you had Brett come on and talk about the preview of the South African Conference, and no one really thought about how well the Jaguares was going to play. And they've stepped up and proved a lot of people wrong this season so far. So they still want to show the rest of Southern Hemisphere saying, don't forget about us, we're still here knocking on people's doors saying, getting wins. So you just never know, do you?
It's good, though. It's great for the competition. When, 12 months ago we were sitting here going, the Sunwolves and the Jaguares, new teams, they're not working. This Jaguares side, they are competition level now. You don't go there thinking, yes, we can take an easy, cheeky 5 points from these guys, shoot back home, no worries, easy job done. Sunwolves not quite there yet, and they never will be, obviously, but this Jaguares team definitely right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, fortunately for the Sunwolves, it's been known. Sahar has now said your time is up in Sunwolves and they're going to be shipped out. I thought that is bad news. Yeah, I know they have been getting drummed lately quite badly, but it's a learning curve, and they've had 3 years, and they are improving each year. Last year they got 2 wins, this year they got 4 wins already, and they're improving, but you can't, what can you say, eh?
Who are you going to back here, the home team or the visitors?
Let me, I don't know. Hold on, I want to have a look.
Tossing up. I'll give you mine in the meantime. I'm going for a home team win. Definitely going to be backing my boys to get the job done under the roof of Forsyth Bar Stadium. No problem for me. Highlanders by 7. Lock it in. Done. Turn the key. Whatever you need to do. That's the job.
I'm not going to go that high, but I reckon the Highlanders will win by 4.
Just by 4. But, I mean, the Highlanders need this win just as much because they're under a lot of pressure from the Blues. They're only 4 points behind now, the Blues. And that slip up against the Chiefs kind of leaves that door slightly ajar for the Blues if they do the unthinkable on Friday night. But who knows what's going to happen. But the Highlanders, they need this win. No, definitely do not.
They need to prove everyone wrong to saying we have got a good enough squad to be in the top 3 of New Zealand behind Crusaders and Hurricanes. Going to be below the finish 4th and 5th. We need to take this next step up. So they've got to start winning games as well, don't they, really?
They do indeed. Moving on. And speaking of needing to win games, it's the Chiefs. They're up against the Sharks. And, man, this one is hard to pick. I mean, call it what you like, a 50-50, flip a coin. Who the hell knows what's going to happen here? The Chiefs really, they've not been Chiefs of old at all this season. They had that little glimmer of hope. But the problem I find with these two sides is that they can turn up and they can play at that top level. And both sides could play well enough if the other doesn't turn up easily for this to be a thrashing. If the Sharks show what they've shown early in the season where they've been absolutely terrible, the Chiefs will cakewalk this. But on the other flip side of things, the Sharks, if they show any of that potential or that tactical brilliance that they did against the Crusaders, they could crush this one as well. So, really, who's got the more motivated team here to turn up for this big clash? I mean, this is, in the terms of the competition, the biggest of the weekend.
If you look at previous results or results of latest, you've got to say that it's the Sharks who are more motivated. They take their draw last week two ways, really. They take it, look what we've done against the Crusaders. We should have won, but we didn't hold on. And we take it now into the rest of the season to push for number one spot. Or they take it as heads down thing of bollocks. We blew that, and they're still in the back of their mind. Instead of flipping it and saying, let's go, let's use it as a motivation to say, look what we've done against the best who's won it for the last 3 years. Let's prove on it. So it's down to the Sharks to say, well, we've got this, let's do it, and carry the form on.
But yeah, talking about two sides, I just realised that drew last week. Both these two teams drew. So both these two sides are going in this mentality of, I mean, for the Chiefs, they should have lost that game. And they're probably like,
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
We come back, we fought hard, well, we deserve to get something out of it. Whereas the Sharks, they're probably like, we lost a huge opportunity to beat these back-to-back champions. If anything, the Sharks are probably going to sort of a little bit more of possibly a negative attitude, whereas the Chiefs will be going to this with a lot more positive because they actually pumped up from behind. And there's a lot riding on this as well.
Yeah,
speaking of the conference,
absolutely.
The Sharks could go top of the table. If the Bulls and the Jaguars slip up, they go number one. But if all three lose, how about this for a flip of the coin? The Stormers could get their way and almost be to the top as well. So everyone's got it on. Of course, the Stormers on the bye, but they are on their bye week. But I mean, that leaves the door wide open, doesn't it?
If all South African teams lose this week, all of them, and then you kind of think the Stormers are thinking, well, we've had a bye week and we haven't lost any spots.
Yeah.
So they're thinking, if all South African teams, the Stormers are going, yes, lovely job.
Exactly.
Rubbing our hands together. So, if you think about it, looking at the table now, you got to think all South African teams are now thinking win or nothing, or we'll mess up.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to keep getting points, bonus points, or wins, or they've got to still get points on the board to keep the points ticking up and making sure they're ahead of other teams. So, and the Chiefs are just playing. Obviously, Crusaders are number one, end of. But the Chiefs are just trying. The rest of this season is trying to. They've been poor, if you think about it. They have been poor this season. But they're now the remaining games. They've got to now say, right, this is our last half of the season. We're going to step up, and this is what we're going to show what we can do. So they're going to show everyone not to write them off. So it's like you say, both teams need wins. So to me, it all comes down to how they take the Sharks and the Chiefs take their previous game result. Like you say, the Chiefs come back from behind to draw, and the Sharks lose and drawing from a winning position. Yes, they both got a point for drawing, so which is good, or 2 points. I don't really know how much is 2 points, but because it's not very often you see it in rugby, but it's been 5 this season. So it's quite scary. Or 3 this season. It still depends how they take that result on to the next game, and that's what it comes down to me. It comes down to who takes the previous result to the next game, how their mindset is set.
Indeed, very much so. And they'll want to be passing the Blues as well and go up to 4th on that ladder, the Chiefs. So, they won't want to finish last. They don't want to get that wooden spoon in New Zealand as well. But who are you backing? The Chiefs at home, Sharks on the road. Who's got the win?
I'm taking the Sharks.
Sharks, I am agreeing with you. I'm going Sharks by a mighty 6 points. How about yourself?
I'm going 5.
Sharks by 5. There we go. Look at that. We're agreeing on one of them. That's not happened too often. Moving on, though. We've got 2 games left to go. Digging into them. Lions versus the Waratahs. And I found this one pretty hard to really find any points. These two sides have both been so average recently. Not really taking the competition by storm at all. Of course, the Lions back from the bye last weekend, of course, back at home as well, which is big. I mean, they had a good result on tour. I mean, if you call it that, they beat the Chiefs. Probably not much of a huge achievement. But for them, I think the biggest point is that they're bottom of South Africa. And after the bye, are you expecting this Lions team to come back with a bit of a flurry and actually have developed or improved in their coordination, teamwork, all that sort of stuff over the bye, and actually become that good team that we know the Lions are? Or is it all just downhill now for the back-to-back finalists?
Well, they need to do something. Don't they, really? They've been poor of late. They've been shocking. And the Sharks and the Bulls have kind of overtook them in the conference. It shows in the standings, but the way the playing levels as well, the Bulls have definitely spent the money and got good players to step them up, like Vermeulen and Brits and that come in. But they need to. I'm looking at history results as we speak, and the last 4 results have gone to the Lions, and then after that, it's gone. Then after 4 wins of the Lions, it's gone. The previous 13 games have all gone to the Waratahs. That's a big jump, isn't it? 13 games win streak, and now it's gone to the Lions for the last 4. And we haven't got the Lions team yet, but the way the Waratahs are playing, they've been shocking. There's no fight, there's no willpower, there's no team effort. Oh, it's just terrible to watch. And the players they've got, it's pretty bad.
The thing is with the Lions, you look at that team, and that really shows what you just spoke of, how this team did that development, like through their Currie Cup side, and they nurtured that side through up into becoming what they were over the last 3 seasons. Now, that is a huge example that you just showed. They were terrible. They were nothing. And they really come from nowhere to be what they are. But now, it seems like the other side of the hill is catching up on them. And both sides have to be desperate for points. Like I said before, they're bottom, the Lions. But for the Waratahs, this season's on a knife edge as well, because they sit 3 points behind the leaders, the Rebels and the Brumbies, who are both on 24. But if they lose this, and either of those 2 sides pick up wins, which, I mean, the Brumbies are up against the Sunwolves in our last match of the weekend, so that's highly likely that they'll pick that W up. They could easily fall out of contention pretty quickly on their tour games before they get back to Australia, which is something that, as a side that's often been their top-running Australian team, they won't want to happen there. So they've got to be desperate to pick up this win on the road.
Absolutely. Big time. And one thing they can take is that the Lions' defence is pretty bad. Their tackling success rate is only 33%. They've missed a lot of tackles, and they let a lot of teams line break against them. They got the game ball. If they score a try like they did last week, keep the ball offload, you think, bloody hell, where the fuck did that come from? You think with the Lions' defense is pretty bad, and both teams concede quite a lot of penalties, but it all depends. Really, this is like a toss of a coin and just say, right, toss a coin and see who heads. Oh, okay, Waratahs win, or tails, Lions win. It's that kind of way. I don't have a bloody clue what's going to happen in this game, to be honest. The Lions haven't named their squad yet, but Waratahs have, and they haven't really changed much.
Yep. Still got Curtly Beale sitting at fullback, of course, for the Mr. Naughty himself. But yeah, I mean, their backline doesn't do much for me, does it? I mean, they've got Carmichael Hunt in the midfield with Fakiti. I mean, that's a struggling side, I think. I'm going for a home victory. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm going home victory. I can't say the Waratahs have just been shocking, haven't they? And the Lions had that break cut at the right time. They won 3 and then they went on their tour. And they were pretty poor. So they've kind of amongst themselves to, like they did last year, they were pretty poor and then they had the break. And then after the break, they came really good. And so is this going to be the same? Yeah. Where they've had the break for them. And then now they can play the rest of the season, games after games after games, improving. So I think the Lions are going to take this one, same as you, but not by a lot. I reckon by 5, I'd say.
Perfect. There's always one we match up together on. Nice. Both go on the Lions on that one. Let's move on to our last game of the weekend. We've talked about a little bit already, the Brumbies versus the Sunwolves. And there's been a bit of talk in the media over here from the Brumbies this week about how they're not going to stop being the team that only scores tries one way. And that is through their rolling maul or their driving maul, which has been pretty much a success story. I mean, you look at the top try scorer leaderboard and you see Folau Fainga sitting up the top with 10 tries. That's 2 more than the second place try scorer in the competition. Is it going to be detrimental to them? A team's going to try and do whatever they can to stop this? Or is this something that ultimately, a driving maul, a good one, you can't really stop unless you're really, really good at it, at really doing it. It's not saying you can really train and get a little sneaky way to oppose it. This is something that if the Brumbies keep up what they're doing, teams are going to find it hard to stop no matter what they do.
There's a couple of ways you can drive them all, as I play forward myself, is when he's jumping, and as soon as he lands, down. That's the quickest way to stop a driving maul, is getting as soon as the lifter or the jumper goes feet planted, pull him down. And the other one is just keep collapsing it and give penalties, and that's not the best way to do it, because if it's on the 5 metre line, they're just going to try giving it against you. So it doesn't really work. But that is the best way to do the stop driving mauls, is hitting them hard first and having one guy ready just pull the jumper down and then go over the top. And as it's a maul, you can hold, or the best thing is hold it up, but it's going to be hard because they are very good at it. Like the Exeter Chiefs up here, they're very good at driving mauls. And unfortunately, they can carry on with this gameplay if people can't stop them. So that's what they've been doing, and it's winning. They're winning games. They're top of the conference, aren't they, of Australia? So you can't, and they're paying. Fortunately for them, happy for them, they're paying the Sunwolves, and their pack ain't very good, and they're not very good themselves, and they're just going to keep going until someone stops them and has a different gameplay. Stop giving them the chance to have penalties and kicking it in the corner. The only best way to do it for them is give penalties away, and so they can't kick in the corner. But they do win a lot of penalties. The Brumbies do, so if it's doing well, if no teams can stop them, they're going to carry on doing it, and they're doing it bloody well.
Yeah,
What's the point in changing the game plan? There's no point in changing the game plan if it's working against each team. Who, if they can't see a different gameplay, if they can't do that, if they've got a good enough pack to do it, which they have, and they're going to just carry on doing it. Can change it, and not at the moment, no one can stop them.
And like you said already, they're up against Sunwolves. The pack is going to struggle. It's really going to struggle against the Brumbies. But I think a couple of points about the Sunwolves. I mean, they're going to struggle on the pack, but I think they've been a bit of a disappointment after what they produced in the early parts of the season. They were a bit of a threat. They were a bit of a banana skin. They were pushing teams hard. They've kind of fallen away from that in the last few weeks. And I think mostly it's been their discipline, which has been a huge problem for them in recent weeks. And that, like you spoke about already, that's going to cost them against a team like the Brumbies. And a season where many people have looked at them and gone, these Sunwolves doing all right. They still only have 2 wins from 11 games. So they're threatening a lot more than they're producing. A nice-looking team, but they're going to have to be excellent in the backs, which is the only area they're going to get any advantage. Parker's going to have a cracker. He's going to have to set up his outside backs. Van der Heever, Nusseray, those sort of guys are going to have to be electric to get anything out of this game. But the penalties are going to cost the Sunwolves if they don't clean that up. And it could be a long day at the office for them, couldn't it?
Absolutely. If the pack gets the Sunwolves moving back, and the only way they can, if the pack get tired, the Sunwolves pack, that's when they concede a lot of penalties. If you watch the game, the first half they are flying on the play quick rugby. They're on the front foot all the time, and then suddenly, if they go like 2 tries down, the heads kind of drop, and the pack don't really have an answer for it, and that's when they give a lot of penalties. And with this Brumbies team, they've got some really good backs as well, and they just don't bother showing. When the last was on the show, I was bigging up the Sunwolves for hoping the World Rugby won't kick them out, because it's not good. Ever since that, and they were saying, "Oh, we got fireplace," and that, they've been shit. After 54-0 at home, so yeah, they've got some good players. They've got some good players, and they're not. Fortunately, their standards are way below everyone, and it's just a home win. You can't really think whatever team Brumbies play out, they're going to beat them. So it's going to be a big win for the Brumbies, unfortunately.
How big?
I'm going to go by 21. 22. Because I pushed 22.
If they win by 21, you're going to be absolutely pissed about that. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be. I'm going to agree with you.
I don't think it'll be close. So what's your pick?
I'm going Brumbies by just 2. Just 2. 2 points only. Exciting game. The Sunwolves never play 2 good games in a row, and they don't really play more than 2 bad games in a row. And they've been pretty average the last couple of weeks. So I'm looking for a bounce back. I'm hoping for a bounce back, but not enough to get the victory. So nice small margins will be good for me. But there we go. That's our 7 games. We've made it to the very, very dark, bitter end of round 13 of Super Rugby. Thanks everyone for tuning in and watching, and thanks as always to Taz for coming on the show and having a yarn about the Super Rugby games this weekend. If anyone wants to hit you up about how bad they think our picks are, where can they find you to have a bit of a chat or a bit of abuse?
I'm on Twitter, which is it's completely different to my name, Taz. It's Scrap, S-C-I-P. Don't ask me why. It's been a nickname for me from middle school, and it's stuck. I'm now 31, and it's stuck calls me Scrap or Taz or whatever. Yeah, so it's at Scrap 1987.
Indeed, and it will be on screen as well, so you can go there, give him a follow and hurl a bit of abuse if he gets any of the picks wrong, because that's what we like to do on Twitter. It's a nice little avenue for that. But that is it for today.
Absolutely.
Thanks everyone for joining in and having your say as well. Leave it in the comments below if you think we're wrong about anything, and we will see you all for round 14, where actually we do know who the guest is going to be. We've got Paul from the Driving Mall all lined up for next weekend as well. So how about that? I'm actually prepared for once. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. As always, take care.
See you later, guys.